Another kind of, I'll say, spin we can put on things is, wouldn't it be nice to have someone to talk to other than your family? I mean, we love our family, however, just a new face. You get to get to meet somebody new, and you can enjoy new conversations, find out what their hobbies are, maybe talk about your hobbies, maybe you share a hobby. That's part of our process in trying to pick someone is who kind of has things in common is a really good goal for us, so that way they have common things to talk about. But it's definitely a way in. Isolation can be so depressing, especially if you have a parent that maybe passed away and there's a single parent left. That's, it's horrible and it's really hard, and sometimes it's hard to kind of bring them out of that.
The opinions expressed in the following program are those of the producer and not necessarily those of WKTV Community Media.
Hello, West Michigan. This is Grand Tap Media Business TV. My name is Pamela Keim, your host. The spirit of the show is to introduce West Michigan to all the businesses, nonprofits, individuals that can help us thrive in our lives. Well, today we're going to be talking about caregiving. Maybe some of you have already taken care of a parent, a grandparent, maybe a neighbor, and you're dealing with stuff and you realize maybe it becomes bigger than life, because I have taken care of an aging parent, or maybe an aunt that you're taking care of. But especially we look in our community, we can see that there's a lot of aging people, and maybe you need some advice, maybe they need some services. Well, my next guest here started a business just to help with an aging population that we have going on here, pretty much across the country, and people needing services, and maybe you don't live close to your parent anymore. So I want to welcome to the show the co-owner of Careology, and it is Cheryl Klodzinski.
Yes.
There we go.
You got it.
And she's going to be talking with us today about what her services can provide for you, and what is home care, and when do you need to have that conversation with your parent or loved one. Thank you for being here,
Thank
dear.
Thank you for having me.
Oh my gosh, we've been friends for a while, so I have wanted you on my show because I look all around you and I'm dealing with it myself. With I'm moving up the pyramid in my family.
We all are.
Yeah, and so I used to be at the bottom, and I used to depend on my aunts and uncles to take care of things. Now I've kind of moved up, and when we get together, I'm helping my aging aunts and uncles, and my mom and dad have passed away, and I had to take care of them too. So, for all of us out there, what exactly is home care? I know what it is, but I would like my audience to know as they see your car. Love your car.
Thank you.
Just like that shirt. You got to check that out.
Yeah.
But share a little bit what your business provides and why you started the business, and because you didn't exactly start off your career in this type of business.
I didn't. No. So private duty home care is basically what your parents would need to stay home and be safe and happy and engaged. So anything to do with like transportation, where they need to go somewhere, somebody to go with them somewhere, for them somewhere, if it's grocery shopping or a doctor's appointment. You can also have someone come in and just do some light housekeeping, meal preparation, medication reminders. So we kind of do anything from like a companionship level all the way to provide support at end of life. So that bedbound care, when someone is toward the end of their life, we have caregivers that will come in and provide that care as well.
Well, I totally understand that. When my dad and my mom went through the dying process, and we had some services in, they didn't want to go anywhere else.
Yeah.
This is their home. This is where they raised their family. Maybe some of you are dealing with that, or they're even in a condo situation, right? I do not want to go. And besides, nursing homes are so expensive.
They are.
And there's not enough of them.
No,
They're on waiting lists. You get that, right?
Yeah, all the time.
And so when the family sits down and has that conversation, first of all, how do you have that conversation, Cheryl? Because you need to start having it now. And what is available to provide, take your finances to provide that, and what other things that they should be looking at? Can you share a little bit with that?
Yeah, so I think it's important because a lot of people want to stay at home. You find a lot of seniors are very adamant that they are not going anywhere. I don't care, I will stay at home. So a lot of, I think the things that we run into is people don't know how to talk, like bring up the conversation.
Right.
So what I have found, it's not fail-proof, but it works a lot of the time, is coming to your parents and say, Mom or Dad, I need your help. I'm struggling, and put it on yourself, because if you're bringing it to your parents, it's going to make them feel, you know, if you're saying you need help, you need this, you need that, they don't feel like they do. So if you're saying that you need help, like I'm struggling to manage my life, my children's lives, and also help you, and I don't want to let you down, like I don't want to let my kids down and my family. Can you help me? I would love to have someone come in and help you. It would take a lot off my plate. Leading in the story like that really takes a lot of it off, because if you go to your parent and say, I need your help, they're not going to be, no, I'm not doing that. But if you're like, you need help, they're going to be more adamant, like shut down that conversation.
Well, by the time some people, and I've dealt with this by myself, when we finally reached out to other services, we were burned out.
Oh, yeah.
Because we were raising our family, and maybe mom and dad aren't close.
Yeah.
And the idea when you thought about, got to take dad to the doctor or mom to the doctor, it was going to be hours.
Yeah.
Because they don't
quick.
get out that much, Cheryl.
It
So
takes
the
them 40 minutes to get to the car.
Yes, you had to be there early to make sure. Share with us that what happens to loved ones that really generally care. They think they can do it all until they're dealing with an aging parent.
It really is hard. Like I said, I think it's such a struggle. There's a lot of guilt that comes with that, because you really want to help. And you know, when we go out to meet with families and we meet with a client, they'll be like, oh, well, my daughter does that for me. I don't need help. Well, I know your daughter does that, but she needs help. So like, let's take this off of her plate. And again, when you say it like that, it puts a different perspective on things, where people are a little more open to the conversation, where, you know, like these things are things we can help you with. We can help you with showering. The biggest fall risk is people in the shower, in the bathroom.
Right.
So like we can assist with some of those things, that personal care, keep you safe. We don't have to be in your house 24/7. We can come in for as little as 2 hours a day, once a week, to help you in a shower. So, you know, the minimal help is there too.
Okay, so you come in, we have the conversation, like, all right, I've been dealing with my mom, or even an aunt, right? There's a lot of people that are taking care of, you know, aunts and uncles and stuff that didn't, their children don't live close.
Yeah.
It's usually the person that's living the closest is stuck with all of that. I hate to say it.
No, it is true. It is true.
All right, we have that. And you're like, look, I love, you know, Aunt Betty, or, you know, Mom, please, you know, I mean, I'm like, and how do I have this conversation with the people? It's like you don't, like, you want to push them off and make them feel like they're a burden.
Yeah.
But I don't think when parents get up there, they don't think well, you just come over for you know, come on over after work.
Yeah.
Come on. Does that make sense? Or just make dinner, make extra
for
us.
We spin it as in, if you let us take this off your daughter's plate when she comes over, she can be a daughter.
Right.
You guys can go shopping, or you guys can sit and enjoy a cup of coffee. She can sit and talk to you. She doesn't have to be like, hold on, Mom, I have to go switch your laundry over, or I have to go change the sheets on your bed, or I have to go do all of these things. Like, I have to put your groceries away. Like, let us take that off of her plate, so she can be a daughter for you instead of a caregiver.
That's uncomfortable, maybe dealing with his mother, and he doesn't want to do the bathing part.
Yeah, absolutely.
So to bring you in, you come in Tuesday, Thursday, that's taken care of.
Yeah.
Because a lot of guys get very uncomfortable.
Oh, sure.
In that, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and a lot of senior women don't want, their sons are very adamant, like, my son will not do that. Like, I won't do that to him. And so they are more open, I think, to having a caregiver. And it's a great in for us, because once someone, even if they're resistant to care, once they get in and meet the caregivers, they kind of really develop a great relationship quickly, and then pretty soon they're like, oh, my caregiver's coming today, and they get excited about that.
Right.
So I think it's important to be able to if you can just get your foot in the door. We are very used to kind of not being wanted when we first walk in, but it changes really quickly.
Well, you can build real connections. Let's talk about one of the things that seniors do suffer from is isolation.
Yeah.
You know, the kids, as a person that has dealt with the aging for 17 years, that was my former career, that's what I hear the most, is they would spend time on the phone talking to us because they had nobody to talk to all day long. I don't think people realize what isolation can do to the mind and the emotion. Yeah. Does that make?
Absolutely. We see it all the time. And I another kind of, I'll say, spin we can put on things is, wouldn't it be nice to have someone to talk to other than your family? I mean, we love our family, however, just a new face. You get to get to meet somebody new, and you can enjoy new conversations, find out what their hobbies are, maybe talk about your hobbies, maybe you share a hobby. That's part of our process in trying to pick someone is who kind of has things in common is a really good goal for us, so that way they have common things to talk about. But it's definitely a way in. Isolation can be so depressing, especially if you have a parent that maybe passed away and there's a single parent left. That's, it's horrible and it's really hard, and sometimes it's hard to kind of bring them out of that.
When you're having the conversation with the family, when they call you, what are some of the questions they're asking? Is it cost? Is there any other way that this can get covered?
Yeah.
What are some of the things that they talk about with
Care
you?
sources are probably one of the biggest things. Like who pays for private duty home
Right.
care? So
Yeah.
typically it is an out-of-pocket cost.
Okay.
We do work with the VA. We do work with long-term care insurance.
Okay.
We also work with auto insurance, but typically out-of-pocket cost. There are other agencies that do work with like Area Agency on Aging or other like Medicaid sources, but unfortunately Careology doesn't. But we have other, like I said, long-term care insurance and things that we work with. So
What can people, when they're looking at this, let's say their parents are somewhat, they're one, I guess, hospitalization or one
Yeah.
fall. We all know
One
when
fall
it's
away.
coming,
Yeah.
getting to that. Getting that call after
Yeah.
10 o'clock
Yeah.
freaks a lot of us out
Yeah.
when we have aging parents and things like that. It's like, oh my gosh, something must have happened.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so what would be an average cost to, like, if I was calling you and say, yeah, I just need you to help, I guess, bathe my dad because
Yeah.
I just feel uncomfortable, or go there twice a week just to make
Yeah.
sure he's okay and talk to him.
Yeah.
Just be a friend to him.
Absolutely. We have some clients that we just do companionship. We go in and we check in, we play some cards, we play some games, puzzles, and just talk to them. We have a gentleman that we just take to coffee every day, like when we go. And I think it's really important to have some of that connection as well as the physical connection as far as the care that needs to be provided, but the mental care that we provide, I think, is huge. So cost-wise, it really kind of depends. It can go as low as like $34 an hour, kind of up to $40, $45 an hour. So it kind of depends on what you're looking for and the needs when you're there. Usually do like a flat rate.
Okay.
And then we do anything for the whole time we're there. We'll do anything in that kind of time frame that you're needing at home.
And what are some of the questions besides that when people come, go 34, not realizing what are you saying, what type of things are you saying back to them and say, look, I know it seems a lot because we're not used to that kind of cost.
It's a costly thing.
But,
Yeah.
overall, it's for your own family. You're going to get burned out.
Yeah.
And I'm not emotionally attached, so I can go in and I could be more, did you take your medication? Have you bathed? And we all get that. Did you brush your teeth today?
Sure.
You can have those conversations.
Oh, yeah.
With a parent that sometimes kids are like, it's my mom. Then she gets angry with me. I hear
Sure.
this all the time, right?
Yeah,
I'm
treating me
well,
like a child.
Yes,
That's what
really,
we get
'cause
that a lot. They're treating me like a child. Where if I come in and I'm just like, hey, Mrs. Smith, did you take a shower today? Why don't we go ahead and get you in there? They're not offended by that. So it does come across differently if a caregiver or an outside source says it versus a family member, because it doesn't come across like we're treating them like a child. So that's probably one of the big things. They are also concerned with like caregivers and how our hiring process is. So I think that's another big concern.
You have
because
background checks,
yes,
all that
we
kind
do
of stuff?
background checks.
Okay.
We're bonded and insured. So like there's that coverage, but I think some of the concern with people having home care is who's coming in my home and how do I know that they're okay. Learning to like develop that relationship can be super scary, especially for someone who doesn't get out all the time.
Exactly.
And
you realize with today's world coming into your home, you have a lot of private information.
that's your
that you have to do that. And so what other questions do you feel when you're sitting there with a family member that I felt like I struggled with too? It's almost like I wanted a lifeline.
Yeah.
Like, just come in and just relieve, even though I had a lot of siblings.
Yeah.
But we're all doing
Yeah.
the thing, and it's more stressful than I thought ever. So did they say, okay, do they on average twice a week, once a week, or what's
anything? It's there's really I'm gonna say no average. So we'll do anything from 2 hours a day to 24/7 care, and everybody's needs are so different. So we make sure that schedule is really tailored around those needs. So we do a free in-home assessment There's no obligation to go forward. You don't have to sign anything. We do go over our paperwork so you know what you're signing.
Right.
And then also talk about, what does that potential schedule look like? What do you think you need? Because we always recommend you should always go with a little bit more than what you think you need. You're probably gonna be happier. And also, if you need to back down, there's no charge or no obligation. You can always just give us a call and like, let's take this back. You're doing better than what you think you are. So it can start off a little heavy and kind of quickly move back. Sometimes people add because they're like, oh no, this is a lifeline. Like, I don't know how I survived without this.
I hear
So,
that a lot,
you
too.
know,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
they will end up adding care too. So it really is, I would love to say there's an average, but you know, just starting off slow, if you're wanting to, like, I'll say dip your parents' toes in a little bit at a time, even just having somebody come in once or twice a week for a couple of hours, at least to get to know somebody, to know it's not scary. It's scary until it happens, and then it's not scary anymore. They're just people coming in wanting to help you.
Right, and if you have a consistency
Yeah.
with most of your clients of
Yeah.
the same type of, the people
Yeah.
come in every week.
Absolutely.
They build those relationships, and then
Yeah.
eventually, they're like, well, you can take them to Russ's for lunch. You go
Yes.
to lunch, and then you get
Yes.
to, they get out and they don't realize that their parents start to look forward to your
do.
visit. It's like,
Yeah,
oh my
they do.
gosh, Cheryl's coming today,
Yeah.
and we're going to be going to get my hair done, and we're going to stop and have lunch. And what is that? You see it.
Oh, all the time,
Right.
like every day, because the relationships they build are, imperative. I've been a caregiver for a really long time, and I think that's one of the favorite parts is listening to their stories, learning about them, and just kind of, developing that relationship, because we just want to help, we just want to be there, and, give the family that respite that they need, but also give that senior person the care and the respect that they need. But it is nice to learn those stories and to just have that conversation back and forth. So as much as they enjoy it, we also enjoy it too.
Yeah, that is true. Now, is there any, who is your ideal client? Is it a certain age? Is there things that you don't provide so people are like, oh, okay? Because, I see everybody out there.
Yeah.
Because it is an aging community.
So the things that we don't provide, I'll say, are outside services, whether it be like shoveling the sidewalks or mowing the grass or gardening for you. Now, if a client has a hobby for gardening, we'll go outside and garden with them. We just won't do it for them.
Okay.
So other than that, inside the home, we just don't lift over 25 pounds, but we can sweep, mop, vacuum, like all the normal housekeeping duties, laundry, change the sheets. But other than that, like, we absolutely, I would say the majority of people's needs are really met with just having a caregiver come in.
Well, I was going to say, this wasn't your former career. Can you share a little bit of how you got into this? Because not everybody, Aging Network has got to be you got to have a heart for this.
Yeah.
And I somehow, I've always gravitated to the Aging Network too, because I don't know why. I always wanted to be the smartest in the room. And so when I walk in, you know what I mean? It's like everybody's like, they're looking to me. It's like, oh, well, you're here to help.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes, I am.
I love being that person for people, like, because I've did a lot of hospice caregiving and stuff, and I think being that person that they look to for support is really important. But yeah, I kind of started off with, animal behavior.
I read your bio. I'm like, you used to take care of animals. How did you end up in the aging?
Yeah, my dad was a minister, and I quickly learned that, seniors were a lot cooler than people my age, and was spending a lot of time with them. We had a little old lady live next to us, and I'd go and help her go grocery shopping and stuff, and I just loved that. So yeah, it's always been kind of in the background with no matter what I've done in life. It's just, I think in the last like 15 to 20 years has really just been a calling for me, and I just found that as much as I do love dogs and working with dogs, I can do that anytime, but this is just kind of what I do now. So it is, it's been a great calling.
Well, how are we doing out there in services when it comes to the Aging Network? Even we know that the population is growing.
Yeah.
We hear it all the time.
Oh yeah.
On the news, and the cost of aging.
Yeah.
I mean, but overall, as you are owning your business and being out there for a while, how are we doing meeting the needs of the seniors that are homebound, that really need, that maybe not qualify? Yeah. They're like the people in the middle. They're like, they're in the donut. We call them people that fell in the donut hole.
Yeah.
They're not really bad financially, and they're not really up there. Yeah. So how are we doing?
I feel like it's kind of a hard subject, because there's so many people I feel like that fall through the cracks where they can't afford private duty home care even a little bit.
Right.
And it would be so helpful if there were other payer sources, whether it be health insurance could cover it, or things like that that could really benefit them and enrich their lives in so many ways. But I do think there is always that group of people that kind of fall through the cracks and just kind of are left behind, and it's those people that we also want to try to help. So it's nice we have flexibility. It's a nice thing, I guess, about being the owner is I have a little
Right,
flexibility
you do.
with
Well,
cost.
and then you're involved in
Yeah.
more of organizations that
Yeah.
try to get out there and,
Yeah.
you know, the services
help,
are well
yes.
needed, and you connect to other people that provide other services.
Absolutely. So if I can't help you, most of the time I can find someone who can. So I'm very well connected as far as in my senior care group. I've been in the industry in Grand Rapids for 10 years, so I have a lot of connections that can help. So if I can't, I'm sure I can find someone that can.
Okay, is there any, West Michigan, where possibly, how far do you go?
Yeah, so
your
we
business?
go up as far as Fremont. We go down all the way to Portage. So Holland over to like Ionia. So
Okay.
we kind of have a really big service area.
And are you, as being an owner and employing people, I mean, is there opportunities at Careology for somebody that are looking, that I told you this, I used to play cards with people, volunteer at Sunset, Manor, I can't even say it, Sunrise, there we go, that's in Cascade. And I loved it, and I went volunteering. But there might be somebody out there that's like, you know what, I could be a companion.
Absolutely.
I could help.
Yeah.
I have some, maybe their husband's retired, or you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I can take them to the doctor.
Absolutely. We have a lot of clients who are like, we don't want a 20-year-old coming in and providing service for us. We would love somebody older. So I tell people, if you're a mom and you stay at home,
Right.
and when your kids are at school, you're kind of bored and maybe want something to do part-time. If you're retired, newly retired, and you just want to give back a little bit, there's no obligation to work 40 hours a week.
Right.
Like, you can have a client and work a couple hours a week, a couple times a week or whatever, and it's okay. So, even if you have a little availability and you really feel like you want to give back and help, there's no reason why you can't be paid for it.
Exactly. And I do think that there's some people don't realize they could be very
Absolutely.
good at this.
Yeah.
Even playing cards,
Yeah.
doing a puzzle.
Yeah.
I know people that love that, and just talking to somebody, you just
Yeah.
can't believe. Dealing with a client services director on the phone
Yeah.
all the time, I was dealing with a lot of people that were isolated and alone, and you just start talking to them, and you can just feel their voice
Oh, yeah.
get a little bit stronger.
Yeah.
And then they're just like, I'm like, well, thank you for talking to me for, a half
Yeah,
hour,
they're so
right?
grateful. Yeah.
You get that.
It's so
you,
sweet.
for all you out there that may, like, you know what, you might want to earn some money for a vacation.
Yeah, absolutely.
Put your kids through
Save
private
up.
school like I
Yeah.
did,
Yeah.
and want to make some extra money. You're just like, you know what, I could do
Yeah.
that for
Yeah.
on that. So, is there anything that we have not talked about that you'd like to share that I didn't discuss with you?
I feel like we've talked a lot.
Well, it is a growing concern.
need, yes.
How are we handling, people really looking? I just want to say, are we still scared of us falling in? You know what I mean? Not being prepared for
Oh, yeah.
what's coming.
Yeah.
You and I are we're a little seasoned.
Sure.
We're still working.
Yeah.
But I still, after being friends with you or
Yeah.
whatever, I'm like, oh man, what would I do if my mom
Yeah.
had a stroke?
Yeah.
If I had hip
Yeah.
surgery, do we have anything that we still want to have those conversations?
I definitely feel like you're never too early at starting a conversation, whether it be with a spouse at our age to care for each other, or is it for a parent? So if starting that conversation early, what would happen? A, do you have funds? Like, do you need to go into a facility? Can you stay home? Cost-wise, there comes a point where private duty for 24/7 is quite costly to stay at home. And I'll say your general person probably is a little more expensive than what they can afford. However, there's, I'll say, the sweet spot where it still makes sense financially to stay at home versus move into a home.
Right.
And does that help and manage your needs at home? So I do think that having those conversations, you're never too late, or never too early to have those conversations. Like, just start them.
And people
even
don't
young.
realize, you
Yeah.
might see that mom and dad have
Yeah.
put a lot of money away
Yeah.
for, but if you go into a facility, it could go like, I'd
Yeah.
heard of people like it was
Yeah.
gone in
Yeah.
3 years. So you might,
Fast.
let's keep mom and dad
Yeah.
home
Yep.
and get it fed. And then we don't not stress out our life so much.
Absolutely.
You know, I've heard this all the time. People are like, I'm so glad you guys came and provided a meal for her because it was one day I didn't have to think about
Yeah,
it.
I could just go home and be with my family
Be
and
with
just
my family.
manage my children and
Yeah, so we totally get that. But the older you get, the more you'll understand this.
Yes.
And then pretty soon you're dealing with aging parents that you're looking at the cost and saying, you know what, it's cheaper.
Yeah.
To have you come in a couple days, it just gives the family a
Absolutely.
break, and you can handle it on the weekends or
Yeah.
something like that. Does that make
Absolutely.
on that one, son?
Yeah.
All right. So how does people have that conversation with you, invite you into their home, see what's going on with mom or dad?
Yeah.
And how do they reach you? And let's start that conversation.
So yeah, just call Careology Home Care. You can Google us. We are on Google. You can call us. Our main number is 616-208-1662. I hope I got that right. But yeah, just give us a call and we can start a no obligation, no pressure conversation. Always start with just, you know, calling and asking some basic questions. You don't have to go forward right away. You're never too early to just start having those conversations.
Right, and maybe you're thinking if anything does happen, that it's so much easier to pick up the phone and say, I think we're ready to start services.
Absolutely.
When can you be here?
Yeah.
As opposed to we have to go through the whole process.
Exactly.
It doesn't take long, but you know, understand what I mean.
No, I totally understand.
Yeah,
Yes.
they got that. And you guys are located in Granville. It's your new facility. How you like it? I love Granville.
I love Granville. I love the office we're in. It's pink, so if you ever want to stop by, it is beautiful.
Yeah, look for Cheryl's car.
Yeah.
It's this color pink.
Yes, it's
You
great.
can't miss it.
Honk and wave.
All right, for any other questions, give Careology a call. If they don't know it, they will direct you to people, because Cheryl knows a lot of people that are in the aging network, that they will be able to answer those questions. But we want to thank Cheryl for being here today.
Thank you so
the
much.
owner of, co-owner of,
Yes.
you know, we should have the other person on once in a while, but we're dear friends.
Josh
All
is
right, we wanted to talk about the Aging Network, so just reach out to her. So this is Pamela Keim from Grand Tap Media. We will catch you next time. Take care, everyone.
Bye.